Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Fall Guys Spring. In this video, we will see 10 things that are super fun in Fall Guys. Number 1, standing or running next to other players. In a battle royale where players and their opponents start at the same line, it can be hard to keep a safe distance from others, but avoid other players if possible. Every person is a player sees should be treated as an enemy, even if they're wearing the same skin. Players that don't keep their distance are likely to be slowed down by tripping over others or even grabbed and thrown into the pink slime. On race maps like Slime Climb, it's important to stay away from others because one mistake can lead to a nasty fall, aka elimination.
Speed. Fall Guys is the Takeshi's Castle of video games, the total wipeout of online competitive multiplayer gaming, and it is absurd, entertaining, and addictive, all in each.
Number 2, attempting shortcuts. Race maps in Fall Guys are difficult because contestants stomp and trip over each other to reach the finish line. The first map is often the hardest because it pits 60 players against each other, and these maps are even harder for those that start at the back of the line. This has inspired players to discover shortcuts that provide an edge on the unaware competition. As good as they may be, shortcuts are not always the best option. Players shouldn't attempt a shortcut when everyone else is going for it unless they're in the lead. Shortcuts will either lead to elimination or give players a tiny lead over the crowd. Number 3, following the crowd on Perfect Match. Perfect Match is an easy challenge for players who have a good memory, but it's a different story for those who don't. When playing Perfect Match, it's easy to see that a lot of contestants simply follow wherever the crowd goes, and while it works out a lot, it isn't always the best option. Instead of following the crowd in Perfect Match, players should try to find their match on their own, preferably stay away from the crowd. To perfect the technique, name the fruits out loud and stand in one spot. Saying the fruits helps players stay aware of what fruits are in play. Standing in one spot keeps consistency.
And follow them, because the likelihood is the majority is always going to be right. Now, the tactic I deploy is a mixture of the two, and that is, I'm going to look at the fruits.
Number 4, being the Pathfinder on Gate Crash. Gate Crash is one of the starting races, and it's tough for players that happen to be in the lead. In most races, being in the lead is advantageous, but it puts fewer obstacles in the way. Gate Crash flips the train of thought on its head. Being the Pathfinder puts players at a severe disadvantage because one mistake can lead to elimination. The Pathfinder tends to have a crowd of contestants behind them, so if they mess up, they'll be stepped on and left behind. Gate Crash is a gambling map, and the odds are never in the Pathfinder's favor. Players should do themselves a favor and give up the first position.
Joey? I win.
Someone help me! Please, God!
Number 5, running on Seesaw. Seesaw requires speed, precision, and accuracy. Players that rush across are doomed to slip into the abyss of pink slime. It's hard to balance safety and speed in Seesaw, but it has to be done to qualify. One way to perform better is to go to the opposite way of the crowd. Sometimes a large group of players will choose a side by default, and this spells disaster for the players that follow.
The row optimally. Now I think it's better to be on the middle of the row, even if you are a few lines back, rather than be on the first row but really far out to the side, because you want to get to the middle.
Number 6, playing all offense on Fall Ball. Fall Ball, or toned down Rocket League, is a team game of soccer. Like most team games in Fall Guys, players will have to do their best filling in whatever flaws their team has. In goal-oriented challenges, contestants usually play all offense with a weak defense. This can work, but in Fall Guys, players will need at least one goalie. Playing the goalie creates a safety net for the team, allowing mistakes that can be cleaned up without the cost of a goal. Number 7, staying with the ground group on Tiptoe. Tiptoe is a dangerous challenge and it can lead to a quick elimination. Players have to find a path by walking on fake tiles that disappear upon touch, usually leading the player that touches them to respawn. Because it's so risky, it's rare to see players trailblazing. Players tend to huddle up and push and pull other contestants onto the tiles that may or may not be fake. Players should play 1 or 2 tiles away from the group to make sure they aren't the ones being sacrificed. Toward the last 3 tiles, players should stick with the group to make it to the finish line. Number 8, running down in the middle in Fruit Shoot. In Fruit Shoot, the player's objective is to cross the finish line before being crushed by a giant fruit. Some players run down the middle because they aren't aware of what the best path to the goal is. The center is the hardest way to go because most fruits are launched down that aisle. Number 9, aiming wandering on Hoopsie Daisy. Team games are the one things that aren't really in a single player's control. They require a whole team or a few out of the bunch to play really well. In Hoopsie Daisy, it can feel useless to stay in one spot, but it is important to stay in a general area. Staying in a general area gives players an advantage on others that try to take their hoops in their territory. That advantage means a lot more when the golden ring spawns, because missing that costs a team qualification.
Add all those together and you got a bunch of zones, right? So you don't want to have, like, an example, 2 reds in the same area, really. Or at max, you only want 2. Like, probably for the spinners, you would want 2.
Number 10, speeding through Hexagon. Hexagon is one of the skill-based rounds. This challenge has no RNG element except for the player's spawn points, so players that lose in this round have nothing more to blame than themselves. At the start of a hexagon, players should do their best to stay on high levels. For players to do this, they still need to run on hexagons until contestants drop below, or there is enough space so other contestants can't grief their area. Once it's clear, use the jumping method to slowly move from hexagon to hexagon. The jumping method requires players to slow their momentum and jump on one hexagon at a time. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen, because I'm sure you'll love them. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.